Whoa, 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 hi everyone, Wothany Wotano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Lady Gaga remix album, Dawn of Chromatica. This is a new remix album from one of pop's biggest icons and strongest voices, Lady Gaga. With well over a decade of hits and outlandish outfits under her belt right now, one may expect her at this time in her career to maybe be slowing down creatively. But no, actually in my opinion, the Chromatica era has shown to be just as wild and uncompromising as many of her album rollouts so far, and I also think the record Chromatica was pretty quality too, with numerous tracks that celebrated more classic forms of house and dance pop. Now, the record came out, it was good. I think Gaga could have easily left it there and moved on, but instead we have a remix album, and this remix album could have easily been something that Gaga played relatively straight, with a series of producers or singers that handed in really accessible EDM revisions of the tracks on the record. But no, Dawn of Chromatica is actually one of the riskiest, most adventurous, and insane remix projects to drop from any artist at Gaga's level, as she really leaned into the growing community of hyperpop producers as well as queer-leaning pop artists. Now, with that being said, this thing is still a remix album, so of course it does suffer from some of the same issues that a lot of remix albums do. Not every remix hits, and of course the respective artistic visions of each artist on this project, they don't always line up. But Gaga giving everyone involved on this thing a lot of creative freedom, and believe me, there's a lot of creative freedom, it has led to some real highlights. Like, Arca's version of Rain on Me with Ariana Grande is almost like an anti-remix of sorts. The whole thing feels like I'm being edged musically for several long-lasting minutes. Rather than delivering a hard drop, the further the song goes along, it's like it gets more indirect and spacey. Given Arca's abstract and experimental pedigree, I guess this is something I should have seen coming. But yeah, even though this one's a little left field, I will say the more I listen to it and the more I sort of understand what it's going for, the more I appreciate it and the more that I hear it's easily one of the most texturally and sonically creative remixes here, though it's maybe more for headphones than it is the dance floor. Then with the track Fun Tonight, Pablo Vittar reinvents this one with almost a Tejano flair, complete with accordion and everything, and it's so good. I feel like this version really enhances the vocal melody of the track. It feels almost romantic by comparison, and it comes off so natural and organic. If I had heard this first, I would be convinced it was an original, not a remix at all. With 911, Charlie XCX and A.G. Cook tear it up in a way that I appreciate because it's not like so obviously pandering to the hyperpop fans that may be expecting them to sound a very specific way on this song. There's a sparkling intro on this track, a lot of driving, throbbing, eerie techno beats, a surprising amount of saxophone too that brings us into this heavy rhythmic odyssey. Then the whole thing kind of turns into a glossy trap ballad on the tail end with Gaga's and Charlie's vocals kind of swapping in and out here and there, each sounding great. It's a multi-phased remix that has a lot of character to it. Then Plastic Doll with Ash Nico. I'm not crazy about this one, but what I like about it is that it's a quirky and futuristic pop and rap fusion that very much fits her style. Given the sentiment of the song, the message of it, I feel like this track was right up Ash Nico's alley and she really turned it into her own thing. Then this version of Sour Candy from Shy Girl and Muramasa is not nearly as bright or as playful as the original, and that's kind of what I like about it. There's something a lot more serious and sinister about the approach taken on this remix, especially thanks to the cerebral dance beats pushing away in the background and Shy Girl's very low-key and moody vocal delivery. The Dorian remix is one that I was most looking forward to on this project. They absolutely kill it here with some heavy chugging metal guitars that kind of call back to the My Agenda project, but totally work here too. It's a crazy mix of heavy metal music and dance that I hope the Gaga fans are ready for. Then Sign from Above with Elton John, the remix of this track with Chester Lockhart, Mood Killer, and Lil Texas doing some hardstyle on the back end. This is one of the most insane things I think I've ever heard. It's a track that's really disorienting but fun, one that I had to listen to multiple times to really kind of get a grasp of it, because Mood Killer's just throwing so much at the mix at once and always changing things up aesthetically. Throwing in some wild transitions. There are so many tongue-in-cheek edits on the track too, from some of the glitchy skips in Elton John's voice to that line where Elton and Gaga are singing before there was love, there was silence, but then of course when silence is said it cuts to silence. With the song being titled SINE from above, there's even a quick fraction of a second where we're just hit with the sound of a sine wave. I think for some people this version of the track may be a little much, but considering this wasn't necessarily one of my faves from the original Chromatica record, I might enjoy this version just a bit more. Then the Jimmy Edgar remix of Babylon is great too, a more synthetic and smooth presentation of the track while still maintaining its anthemic songwriting and structure, and I think BREE Runway was a fantastic addition to the song too. So yeah, there were great cuts all over this thing. I do have some reservations about a few tracks. The second remix of Babylon I thought was kind of unnecessary. There aren't really enough creative liberties taken with the opening remix either. The DOS remix of Enigma I thought was easily the weakest on the project. Some of the vocal samples on this one don't really line up all that well, and stylistically, I thought this beat wasn't nearly as bold as the bulk of the material here too. I wish the Free Woman remix went further, honestly. I think Rena does a great job vocally on this version of the track, which is no surprise considering how great that song she did with Elton came out. But instrumentally, I feel like I'm mostly listening to the same song, but a more cluttered, I guess, version of it that I don't think really enhances the experience necessarily. But again, with all that being said, I thought Dawn of Chromatica was a really fun new way to enjoy this Gaga record. Love that she's platforming some artists who absolutely deserve it, from people like Planning to Rock, who have been at this for a while, to some of the new groundbreakers out there. And I hope if you guys listen to it, don't expect every track to gel with you, don't expect every track to blow you away, but the cuts on here that are fantastic, I hope you find them as exciting and as creative as I do. I'm feeling a strong 6 to a light 7 on this one. Tran. Zishin, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Lady Gaga, Dawn of Chromatica, forever.